Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. In a very interesting press conference today, the White House Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki essentially gave us insight into what President Biden is thinking as far as $1.9 trillion stimulus package is concerned, as far as the American Rescue Plan is concerned. Now, I already reported that a group of 10 Republican senators had proposed a $600 billion package. Specifically, it's a $618 billion package. And this was announced via tweet from Senator Susan Collins from Maine. Right here on your screen, you see the tweet from Senator Susan Collins from Maine. And also on your screen, you see the letter that these senators sent to the president. So guess what? The president is going to meet with them tonight. But what's super interesting is that there's a big difference between $618 billion and $1.9 trillion. In fact, $1.9 trillion, whoop, that's a lot of money, $1.9 trillion. And right here, you have $618 billion. It's almost like $3 up here and $1 down here. So to be honest, I don't think that the Democrats are going to take this seriously. But what's super interesting is that President Biden is going to be meeting with these 10 Republican senators. Today, in an important briefing, the White House press secretary actually chimed in on this. And she basically said that, look, this is meant to be a meeting where we exchange ideas. The president is open to new ideas. But she clearly indicated that the Democrats are not willing to budge from $1.9 trillion and they'll use the process of reconciliation if they had to. Let's roll the segment and hear from the White House press secretary today on this entire situation. Let's watch.
On the president's meeting this evening with the senators, can you give us a sense of how he views that meeting? Is it going to be negotiating? Is he going to be prepared to counter anything the Republicans might offer? Or is it just a session where, they ask to meet with the president and he's simply giving them an opportunity to voice their concerns?
Well, the president has been clear since long before he came into office that he's open to engaging with both Democrats and Republicans in Congress about their ideas. And this is an example of doing exactly that. So as we said in our statement last night, it's an exchange of ideas, an opportunity to do that. This group obviously sent a letter with some outlines, some top lines of their concerns and their priorities, and he's happy to have a conversation with them. What this meeting is not is a forum for the president to make or accept an offer. So I think that's important to convey to all of you. And his view, it remains what was stated in the statement last night, but also what he said on Friday, which is that the risk is not that it is too big, this package. The risk is that it is too small. And that remains his view, and it's one he'll certainly express today. Go ahead, Darlene.
So what would you say is more important to the president at this point on this first legislative test? Is it going big or going bipartisan? It seems like you can't have both.
Well, I think the president believes we can, and there is historic evidence that it is possible to take a number of paths, including through reconciliation, if that's the path that is pursued, and for the vote to be bipartisan. But it's important to him that he hears this group out on their concerns, on their ideas. He's always open to making this package stronger. And he also, as was noted in our statement last night, remains in close touch with Speaker Pelosi, with Leader Schumer, and he will continue that engagement throughout the day and in the days ahead.
And so, folks, when the White House press secretary was specifically asked, hey, does it even make sense to meet with the Republicans because there's a big difference between $1.9 trillion and $618 billion, what she said was that the size of the package needs to be commensurate with the crisis, basically saying, hey, we need to go big, we need to go all out. And that is the stage that is being set right now. A very clear indication of what's going to happen. Let's roll the tape and hear from the White House press secretary about what we are likely to see in the coming days, potentially as soon as this week. Let's watch.
You mentioned that President Biden's proposed COVID relief package is designed to be commensurate with the crises. This group of 10 Senate Republicans, what they're offering, as you know, is more than a third less. The top line number, the $600 billion, is more than a third less of that $1.9 trillion that President Biden says he wants. Given that, do you see that as a serious attempt at compromise on their part?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to give more comment on their proposal. I think they put their ideas forward. That's how the president sees it. He felt it was, an effort to engage on a bipartisan basis, and that's why he invited them to the White House today. But his view is that the size of the package needs to be commensurate with the crises we're facing, the dual crises we're facing. Hence, why he proposed a package that's $1.9 trillion.
Does the president plan to invite Democrats into the Oval to have these similar conversations?
Well, I can promise you we're less than 2 weeks in. There will be many Democrats in the Oval Office, and I'm sure this is just part of our ongoing effort to engage directly.
And so, folks, it couldn't be any clearer. In fact, Jen Psaki specifically says the package size needs to be closer to what he proposed. And what did the president propose? What did President Biden propose? There he is. He proposed $1.9 trillion. That is a lot of money, and it's clear that the White House is going to stay firm with that position. Let's take a look at this segment where the White House press secretary says that the package needs to be closer to what he proposed. So the fact that they are meeting tonight is rather interesting. I believe it's an effort to show bipartisanship, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a $600 billion stimulus based on the words from Jen Psaki. Let's roll the tape.
You said in your statement that the scale of what must be done is large. Let's bottom line it. Is $618 billion considered large by the White House?
Well, I think our statement last night made clear that the president believes that the risk is not going too small, but going not big enough, and that his view is that the size of the package needs to be commensurate with the crises we're facing. That's why he proposed $1.9 trillion. There's obviously a big gap between $600 billion and $1.9 trillion. I don't think any of us are mathematicians, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But we can all state that clearly, and so clearly he thinks the package size needs to be closer to what he proposed than smaller.
And in that statement, you called out $1,400 relief checks, a substantial investment in fighting COVID and reopening schools, aid to small businesses and hurting families. A lot of that isn't in the Republican proposal. So why have this meeting at all if they're not even going to take seriously what he is proposing?
Well, again, Ed, this is an opportunity to exchange ideas, to have a conversation. That's why he invited them over here to the White House. He outlined the specifics of what he would like to see in the package in his speech, his primetime speech just a few weeks ago. And there are some realities as we look to what the American people are going through right now. 1 in 7 American families don't have enough food to eat, right? We're not going to have enough funding to reopen schools. We don't have enough money to ensure that, we can get the vaccine in the arms of Americans. So there are some real impacts, which he will certainly reiterate as he has publicly and privately in many conversations. But they've put forward some ideas. He's happy to hear from them. But he's also feels strongly about the need to make sure the size of the package meets this moment and feels the American people expect that of their elected officials as well.
That's it, everybody. A clear indication from the White House about where we are likely to go as far as stimulus is concerned. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You'll get a link to the entire video in the description section below. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications if you learned something new from this video. I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.